Us now is gossip guru our Couri Hay. Now, Couri, last time you said that you were going to tell us about the temper tantrum Boy George threw after a bad review. What exactly did the Culture Club's lead singer do?
Martha, underneath all that glitter and glamour, Boy George is flesh and blood just like the rest of us, and sometimes he shows a rather hard side. He didn't like the review of his Detroit concert appearance in a local newspaper, so he fired off a letter to the critic. Prima donna George wrote him, "If you spent more time looking in the balcony, you may have seen people dancing. You're just waiting to be put out to pasture. I can't wait till we meet." I'll bet. He signed it with a and included a photo of himself inscribed with the words, "To the Detroit Wally, with love." By the way, Wally is a British slang term for idiot. One thing Boy George isn't. What do you do for the woman who has everything thanks to a multi-millionaire husband? Well, P. Isidore, who's patron of the arts husband, Michelin brickless can buy her everything but talent, has bought her a brand new jet, a 747. How's adorable. P is expecting their first baby, and I guess he figured the Learjet they already own is just too small for a family of 3. Muhammad Ali may be the greatest in the ring, but as a magician, he's got a lot to learn. The British Magical Society announced recently that it was revoking its honorary membership because he broke a cardinal rule of all magicians. While appearing on British TV, he revealed how he made a handkerchief disappear and a woman rise in the air. Naughty, naughty, Ali. Diahann Carroll is one woman who knows all the tricks. She set her mind to playing opposite reigning nighttime soap queen Joan Collins and talked Dynasty producer Aaron Spelling into the idea. She likes to refer to her role of the mysterious Danielle Devereaux as TV's first black bitch. Diane's writing a book, and her real-life story reads like a soap opera. 3 marriages, the first 2 were interracial and ended in divorce, and the third was to a man 15 years her junior who died tragically in an auto accident. According to Diane's publishers, she suffered 2 miscarriages and had numerous stormy affairs with such Hollywood stars as David Frost and Sidney Poitier. The names and dirty details are all in the book, all in the past and out in the fall. Now Diane's set to do 17 episodes of Dynasty next season at a salary of $35,000 per show. Success to you, Diahann. You've earned it.
Boy, I think she has too, Couri. What are you going to have for us next time?
Martha, I'll tell you how Stephanie Powers is spending her time now that her heart-to-heart marriage to Robert Wagner has ended. Or has it? Come back to me. Wishing you good gossiping. This is our Couri Hay reporting from Hollywood.
Thanks.
Their career plans. What's Stephanie up to now?
That's right, Norman. The stunning actress whose idyllic 5-year TV marriage to Robert Wagner was unfortunately just dissolved by ABC's decision to drop the show next season isn't disheartened yet. Both CBS and NBC have expressed interest in the series, and if all else fails, heart-to-heart reruns will be kept alive in syndication, possibly forever. Meanwhile, Stephanie's working out of the Paris love nest she shares with her lover, Shakespearean actor Timothy Dalton, and putting the finishing touches on the CBS miniseries Minstrel's Daughter. She will also be a semi-regular on a new CBS dramatic comedy series called On Location in Tucson, if the pilot's picked up by the network, still leaving her plenty of time to pursue the African wildlife projects she carries on in the memory of William Holden, the man she now says she wished she'd married. Robert Wagner was disappointed and angry about the heart-to-heart cancellation, but his misery has company. Gorgeous gal pal Jill St. John's own series, Emerald Point, was canned by CBS. RJ and Jill jittered off to his chalet in Stade, Switzerland for a little R&R and some serious plan-making, which I hope will include a trip down a rice-strewn path. It was there in the Swiss Alps that Lana Wood, Wagner's estranged sister-in-law, made matters worse by dropping off an autographed copy of her new book, Natalie, a memoir by her sister. Wagner, upset over the book's sensational content, refused to accept it. He has continued to reject all efforts on her part for a reconciliation. Lovely Lainey Kazan keeled over the other day in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where she's filming Lust in the Dust with handsome movie idol Tab Hunter and tubby transvestite Divine. No, the 300-pound gender bender who plays Tab's leading lady didn't fall on Lanny. She blamed her fainting spell on the high altitude and the hot sun, and the tightly laced corset she made and wore for her part as a busty and lusty madam. Can't wait for this one. 2 other Hollywood glamour girls have more than stars in their eyes these days. Barbara Stanwyck is laid up at home with a bad case of shingles around her eyes, and Jane Meadows has developed an unsightly and painful sty in her eye, but has refused to cancel any of her TV and public appearances. What a trooper. Barbara and Jane, get well soon. I only have eyes for you.
Caught it. Had to catch something.
Hey, you weren't supposed to catch that.
What do you got for us next? What do you got for us next?
Well, Norman, I'll tell you which male superstar women dream about most, and it's not who you think it might be. Come back to me. Wishing you good gossiping. This is our Couri Hay reporting from Hollywood.
Machine himself, our Couri Hay. Now, last week, he told us that he had some inside information about the man most women dream about. Couri, is it anybody I know?
Martha, if you guessed Burt Reynolds, Tom Selleck, or Paul Newman, you'd be wrong. New York psychologist Dee Burton recently did a survey and made the shocking discovery that Hollywood's favorite dreamboat is none other than Mia Farrow's live-in lover, Woody Allen. It seems that wimpy Woody projects the image of a protector, and some of the women interviewed said they had lustful, even kinky dreams about him. Woody Allen kinky? Well, to each his or her own. Funny man David Brenner has his own very unique way of alleviating his crippling back pain, and it's causing quite a controversy. He recently told New York Magazine that his 84-year-old doctor treats his problem with coke, and I don't mean the kind that comes in six-packs. His Upper East Side doctor uses cocaine legally to treat all sorts of physical ailments, including Brenner's back. By placing swabs tinged with the powdery white stuff up patients' noses, this method apparently interrupts the nerve reflex and often gives permanent relief. Considering the size of Brenner's schnoz, his doctor must have him paying for his treatment through his nose. Speaking of famous noses, Barbra Streisand has been sniffing out possible new movie projects, and her latest one involves Jane Fonda, and that's nothing to sneeze at. The two superstars are considering work on a film called Triangle, which deals with the tragic 1911 Triangle Shirtwaist Company fire in New York City that killed 147 people. They haven't yet decided who'll play which role or who'll direct and produce. But with those two red-hot Spitfires involved, sparks are sure to fly. Prima ballerina Natalia Macabre pirouetted into court to file a $25 million lawsuit against the Kennedy Center Productions Incorporated and a scenery manufacturer for injuries she suffered during a 1982 performance of the musical On Your Toes, for which she went on to win a Tony Award. The truly horrible incident in which a heavy metal pipe fell from high above the stage, stunned the audience, and sent her to the hospital with a broken shoulder and scalp lacerations. The show must be jinxed. Just recently, Leslie Caron forced the show's national touring company to bring down its final curtain when she suffered a serious hip injury during a performance. Diana Ross's lover, Gene Simmons of the rock group Kiss, dropped into New York's Hard Rock Cafe, then dropped his pants. I think a kiss would have been more appropriate, but he decided to give the patrons a full moon instead. Perched high above in the eatery's balcony, Gene showed off his best asset, much to the shock of the patrons below. The manager of the trendy cafe, whose menu features hamburgers, told him to keep his buns under wraps. So up went Gene's jeans. Next time, I'll tell you about some unusual career plans for ex-Beatle Paul McCartney. Come back to me. Wishing you good gossiping. This is our Couri Hay reporting from Hollywood.
Thanks, Couri. We'll look forward to you on Thursday. He has news about a lawsuit involving Ryan O'Neal. Today, he's reporting from windows on the world in New York City. Couri, looks like you've got quite a view from there.
Martha, it's absolutely breathtaking, and so's the food. Windows on the World is a perfect name for this restaurant, which is located in the World Trade Center, the second tallest building in the world. It's perched 107 stories above Manhattan and offers a spectacular view for 50 miles around. It feeds more people and makes more money than any other restaurant in the world, with an annual income of $16 million. This is about as close to heaven as a restaurant can get. So it's no wonder that Mary Tyler Moore planned to have her engagement party here last year. Unfortunately, it was pouring down rain, and the dazzling view was a washout. So Mary canceled at the last minute, not caring that she just tossed her $4,000 deposit out the window. She moved the party to her apartment instead, and her marriage to young Dr. Levine has been sunny ever since. That's more than can be said for ex-Angel Kate Jackson, who's divorcing her second husband, David Greenwald, after a stormy 2 years. Insiders say the main reasons for the split were that Kate and David lived much of the time on separate coasts, and also the daily pressures Kate had to face while filming her new show, Scarecrow and Mrs. King. Her divorce papers cite irreconcilable differences, the same reason she split from her first husband, the talented and sexy actor Andrew Stevens. Let's hope she isn't tacky enough to badmouth Greenwald the way she did Stevens after their divorce. But don't cry for Kate. She's already got herself a new man, banker Richard Cohen, the ex-husband of Tina Sinatra, whom Kate lured away from Barbra Streisand. Irreconcilable Differences is also the name of a new movie starring Firestarter Drew Barrymore and Trouble starter Ryan O'Neal. He's been slapped with a $500,000 lawsuit by a female stand-in who also worked in the film, who claims she suffered a perforated eardrum while filming a scene in a swimming pool. She says she was maliciously, intentionally, and willfully battered in the ear by Ryan, who angered her even more by not even apologizing to her. Naughty, naughty Ryan. Don't you know it's love, not violence, that means never having to say you're sorry. England's Princess Diana may appear to be as cool as a cucumber, but the fact is she's often unsure of herself and sometimes cannot eat for hours after appearing before the public. So, in the privacy of the palace, she relieves the strain by dancing wildly, losing herself in her own little musical world, usually with music by her favorite group, Duran Duran. Now you know how the princess stays on her toes.
Gee, I'll have to try that myself sometime, Couri. But what are you going to have for us next time, and where will you be?
Martha, on Tuesday, I'll be at Manhattan's newest video club, Private Eyes, and I'll tell you all about Elton John's dirty laundry. Please, come back to me. Wishing you good gossiping. This is our Couri Hay reporting from Windows on the World, a quarter-mile above scenic New York City.
Thanks, Couri. We'll look forward to that on Tuesday. And now, our Couri Hay has some news about a famous star of the stage and screen who's calling it quits. Couri, that looks beautiful. Where are you coming from today?
Martha, this is the Delacorte Fountain here in Columbus Circle, which is dedicated to the man who discovered it all back in 1492. Now for some news you don't know. After 50 years of providing first-class entertainment, Lena Horne claims she's retiring from show business. She began her career as a chorus girl at the famed Cotton Club in Harlem, then fought racial prejudice to become Hollywood's first major black star. Lena, who's 66 years young, is winding up the farewell tour of her smash Broadway show, The Lady in Her Music, which opened 3 years ago. Now, don't expect her to spend the rest of her days in a rocking chair. Lena's already planning to oversee a 2-hour TV movie on her life, which will air this fall, and will be doing some university lecturing on performance technique. There's a lot to be learned from the Horn of Plenty. Best of luck, Lena, but please don't stop singing. Joan Collins doesn't need any luck when it comes to finding a man, and that's just what she did during a recent stay in New York City. Dynasty's Alexis had a very romantic fling with Muck Flick. You heard it right, Muck Flick. He's an heir to the Mercedes-Benz fortune. Could it be that Joan has developed an interest in cars? Or is she just a little bored with her steady young thing, Peter Holmes, who's a jewelry merchant? Don't forget, Joni, diamonds, not cars, are a girl's best friend. Meanwhile, Jack Coleman, who plays Joan's son Stephen on the show, was taking a midnight stroll on a Chicago beach when suddenly he was stopped by the police. Despite his stardom, Jack was bounced from the beach by the cops, who explained that the beach closes at 11, so he'd have to walk somewhere else. What I want to know is, what was he doing there in the first place? At least he didn't end up in jail like Joan did in the final cliff-hanging episode of Dynasty. But don't worry, Alexis didn't do it, and she's going to get out. Monaco's Prince Rainier and his children are very upset over a new, possibly irresponsible speculation about the death of Princess Grace. Some of the Italian press now claim the mafia killed Grace. Other unsettling reports that have just surfaced concern the late princess's rather healthy sexual appetite. A new book just published in London entitled Princess Grace by Sarah Bradford claims she had steamy affairs with such top stars as Ray Milland, Clark Gable, Bing Crosby, designer Oleg Cassini, and French actor Jean-Pierre Aumont. And whoever said Grace was cool and icy? Jane Fonda once wanted a glass of cool and icy milk on a flight from New York to Los Angeles, and shocked fellow passengers when she snapped her fingers and ordered a glass of milk by demanding milk, milk to the stewardess. Naughty, naughty Jane. That's no way to treat a lady or anybody.
Couri, you can always dig up a story, even if it's 35,000 feet in the air. We're going to look forward to his next report.